Licensing Commission meeting for December 7th, 2023. If you'll join me as we open this meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance, as we usually do. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
My name is Pat McNally. I am, chairing today for the Transportation Licensing Commission meeting, and we have a quorum. I am going to now read the notice of appeal. This is for appeal of decisions from the Metropolitan Transportation Licensing Commission. Pursuant to the provisions of Section 2.68.030 of the Metropolitan Code of Laws, notice is hereby given that if you are not satisfied with a decision made by the Metropolitan Transportation Licensing Commission, you may appeal the decision by petitioning for a writ of certiorari with the Davidson County Chancery or Circuit Court. Your appeal must be filed within 60 days of the date of entry of the Metropolitan Transportation Licensing Commission's decision. We advise you that you seek your own independent legal advice to ensure that your appeal is filed in a timely manner and that all procedural requirements have been met. I will now open it for public comment. Have we had anybody interested in a public comment about the agenda that's on today?
No, sir, does not appear anyone wishes to speak.
All right, I will close the public comment period. Has everybody had an opportunity to review the minutes from the previous meeting?
Yes. Yes.
All right. Is there any comment about the minutes, or is there a motion to approve the minutes from the previous meeting?
I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes
From the November 16th, 2023 meeting?
from the November 26, 2023 meeting, correct.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. Now, we are now on the next topic, which is the Connect Downtown study. I think we were going to have a little update on that. Ms. Alicorn, did you want to handle that, or?
I think so. My timing was perfect.
It is.
You know, exactly.
But-
It's just that. Okay, no, that's perfect. Sorry, my apologies. Talk about walking in at the last minute.
Or at the right moment?
Huh?
At the right moment.
At the right moment, so I did get there. Hit my button. Good afternoon, thank y'all very much. So as y'all remember, the last meeting, we had a chance to bring in our consultants and share with you where we are at with the recommendations for Connect Downtown. The one thing that we wanted to share with y'all that is really kind of relevant to what some of your conversation today is going to be is that number that really creates crisis on the network for us when it comes to the number of cars with slow-moving vehicles. So if you remember correctly, when we first presented, there was two different numbers we presented. One was 35, which was at peak time. So when we say peak time, that means when it's the most vehicles are on the roadway at the time. And when I say vehicles, we're including a regular car, the entertainment vehicles, the paddle taverns, the horse and buggy, you name it, the bicycles, the scooters, whatever's on the road, we're including all of that. And we had found that at that peak time, 35 was the number of ETVs that could be out on the roadway. And any more than that, it started really causing problems where it was a delay in being able to move. And that was what was really important is there was a delay that was given, but that's consecutive. So for example, if there was a 10-second delay because we have too many cars on the network, it's 10 seconds that keeps getting cumulative for every vehicle. So if you have a multiple number of cars, it can lead up to a 10-minute delay. So I think that was just something else that was really important to kind of hint on or share with as far as what that information was sharing out based on on what was shared with you on the Connect Downtown. We did come up with, yes, sir.
And just so I'm clear, the potential 10-minute delay is just traveling through the network.
Correct.
So first to 10th.
Correct.
And then you could have subsequent delays because this vehicle perhaps, I got stuck behind a pedal turret last week and couldn't get down to Mumbrian.
Yes.
And that's outside the network. It's struggling to get up that hill. Moving slowly, stuck behind lights. So there's additional delay because we only were
Right.
studying. Yep, thank you.
Yep. And also, please keep in mind, it doesn't take in consideration what it takes to get out of a garage. So if the network outside is very busy and you're in a garage and you're trying to get out, you can actually be delayed within the garage more than what is considered normal. And so that peak time was 35. So staff's recommendation was actually for consideration of saying 35 was that number that we would recommend of having that many permits for ETVs out on the roadway due to the data we collected through Connect Downtown. At the time, y'all had set a parameter between 35 to 70 because you looked at non-peak time and peak time. So I just wanted kind of to share even with the updated data that we provided, it actually showed an increase in delay compared to what we first originally showed you. I believe the delay time is now up to 12 seconds per incident or per cumulative. So it's even actually more than we thought when we reran the new data, the number, and actually looked at it as a whole. I believe also, and I can't remember the number, so I'm going to stick with the 35, but I believe the number actually also dropped a little bit. But y'all have already set that parameter between 35 to 70 permits. So we are and have applied for a grant because one of the recommendations that actually came out of Connect Downtown was a look at improving the signalization, and we do feel like we can have improvement in efficiencies in traffic flow, but it's not the silver bullet. It's a combination of improvements and recommendations that we have to do to improve overall traffic flow. So we have applied for a grant to get dollars. We know we're going to get some dollars. We may not get the whole grant. We applied its overall cost to improve the traffic signalization in the downtown and then also on the peripheral was roughly around $10 million. We've asked for $8 million with a $2 million match. So we have $2 million already in the bank. We feel we will probably be successful with getting another $2 million right off the bat, that we would be able to make some traffic signal improvements that'll start making a difference on some of the main corridors to help with the traffic efficiencies. And then we're going to look for some additional funding to see if we can continue to push to get the entire area done, because it's going to be really important for all of it to be done, not just some of it to be done. But again, that's not a silver bullet. There's multiple recommendations in the overall Connect Downtown study that we would be looking at over a period of 10 years making improvements. So just wanted to share that out a little bit because I know we have a lot on our plate for today's conversation. So thank you.
Thank you. All right, next item on the agenda is a report or update on enforcement issues. Mr. Fields, can you update us on that, please?
Yes, sir, I will. As you know, NDOT has made a great improvement with respect to the number of enforcement staff that we have available to us. We thought maybe what we would do is give you a report of, and this is focused on the entertainment transportation at this time, that beginning about 6 months ago, there have been 88 total citations issued for entertainment transportation. Out of those, 61 are related to unlicensed vehicles, while the other 27 would be citations that would have been issued to existing companies. Since
If I could just, while we're in the rhythm of this real quick, you said unlicensed vehicles?
Mm-hmm.
Is that across all categories?
No, this would not include taxi cabs. We're actually working on those reports as well. This would not include the taxi cabs, the illegal cabs, or illegal other passenger vehicles for hire. This would be just focused on entertainment transportation at this point. We also, since June and July were the big months. Then with the license companies in August, we had 5 issued to licensed companies. In September, we had 1 issued to licensed companies. And then by the time we got to October, there were 2 issued to licensed companies, and there were 0 issued in the month of November. We don't have a report yet on December. So the initial rollout of the new and improved enforcement staffing and availability in the middle of the summer clearly had an impact, but we're continuing to monitor all the complaints that come in.
Are we fully staffed at this point?
We're not fully staffed. There are still a couple positions. They've done the interviews, and offers, I think, have been made or are in the process of being made.
They have been.
So they're going forward, and our director has been very involved in enforcement from the standpoint of working with enforcement staff, because they're not directly in the TLC part, so she may have some comments as well.
So I will share with you, we've been very fortunate that, you know, we wrote a lot of citations. A lot of the folks have been really good about complying and following the regulations. When we catch folks that are not following regulation, we do give them a chance for compliance versus a citation first. And so most have been really good. The biggest problem we're still having is the noise. And so we're constantly asking them to turn it down, and they do. If we catch them a second time with the noise back up, we don't ask, we just cite. And so most of the time, they've been really good about it. Now we're in the winter months, so most of them are actually enclosed, so we're not hearing it as much as well, so I'm not really expecting it. But I have to say, since we started buttoning down, we've had better outcome than we have. I think where we're still having some challenges is the noise, I think, is coming more from the pedal taverns. So we are actually working on that. Teresa's writing some legislation on that we'll be bringing forth to y'all concerning that. But we are still having huge challenge with the noise coming from the pedal taverns. So that's the next one that we're really going to be diving into and doing some citation writing and holding them accountable. Still, you know, seeing some of their drivers drinking while they're, you know, because they're out there and they take shots with their teams and stuff. So that's completely against the rules and regulations. So we're going to really be buttoned down on those. But we've been really pushing and enforcing the ATVs, and now we're really going to start diving into the paddle taverns, because they've been the biggest offenders over the ATVs, and we have a few bad players, but we do have, I don't know if it was shared with the board off the wagon, the outcome with them, if y'all had heard about that we had actually taken them to court, and so now they're actually following the court's outcome. And I think that was really great, because I think it sent a message to all the other folks that were not licensed and were thinking that they are going to get caught, they're going to go through the process, and we're going to hold them accountable, and there's a potential of going to jail. And we're not going to drop the ball on it. And we stayed on top of this all the way through the end. So that was, I think, a very clear message that we sent out to the community, to the industry community as well. So we're hoping we'll continue to see more positive improvements. But we still have more than enough out there, and I think that's some of the bigger tackle that we're going to have to take on, is we just still have too many, and it's what's creating the congestion issues on the roadway.
Are the pedal taverns drivers driving a moving vehicle and following the same rules of the road as somebody who's driving a car?
It's considered a bicycle.
Even though it has a steering wheel and a pedal and
It's
brakes?
still considered more of a bicycle. It's just a lot bigger than a bicycle, but it is actually considered a bicycle, and they have to follow the rules of the road as a bicyclist. And even as a bicyclist, if you're on the road, you're not supposed to be drinking and driving. So that doesn't make a difference whether you're behind the wheel of a car or behind the wheel of a pedal tavern.
Agreed. No, I don't see the shots. I see the pedal tavern drivers frequently texting and driving. I take video of it. I mean,
Yeah, and
it's
that's
all the
also
time
against-
not paying attention to the road.
And that is against a whole nother ordinance, and we want to tackle that as well. So, so as I said, Billy has met and talked with the business owners about the challenges and the issues. We're hoping for compliance. We're not seeing it, so now we're enforcing.
And the only other issue, Mr. Rooker and I met this week with probably 2/3 of the owners of the taxi cabs to talk about meter usage, talk about other violations that we're seeing, and they recognize and understand it, so we're continuing to press them as hard as we can.
Good. All right, next on the agenda is the review of short-term sole source contract for B-Cycle services through June 2024. Mr. Fields, could you explain what that topic's about today?
Well, there are actually some folks that may be much better equipped to describe it, but
We actually need to defer that if we could, Mr. Chair. We have to move some legislation forward. It will fall under your purview, but we have to straighten up some of the legislation, and then we'll bring this back before you. I just want to remind the board real quickly, the contract for the scooters and the dockless bikes are actually expiring in June. We'll be coming out with a new RFP that will encompass everything: bike sharing, dockless, docking, and as well as e-bikes and scooters. So we're going to be putting out a brand new RFP on all of the items. But right now we have B-Cycle that is operating without a contract, but I have to clean up some legislation, which Teresa we'll be introducing to y'all at the next meeting and then moving forward to council. So this, I need to ask for it to be deferred. I kind of jumped in front.
Ms. Costones, would you recommend that we have a motion on that? To
Yes,
defer
I'd
it?
recommend a motion to defer.
And would that be to defer indefinitely?
I mean, well, as Diana suggests, we can take up the issue of the legislation at your January meeting. I'm not sure if the contract negotiations will be fully done by then, such that a contract will be able to be put before you, but we maybe leave that up in the air, maybe defer it indefinitely, and then we'll put it on the January agenda if we have to.
Yeah, I would say we ought to defer this particular matter indefinitely, and then whatever gets put on the agenda gets put on the agenda.
Thank you, sir.
Would someone be so kind as to make a motion? Well, is there any discussion about whether to defer it or not? Anybody have any opposition? All right, would somebody be so kind as to make a motion to defer the short-term sole source contract for B-Cycle indefinitely?
I'll make that motion. I make a motion to defer the short-term sole source contract for B-Cycle services indefinitely.
I second the motion.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Next on our agenda, Mr. Fields, is the annual hearing for consideration of horse-drawn carriages, and I understand that I think it's Mr. Smith with Sugar Creek may have a request today.
Mr. Smith had a family emergency that required him to be out of the city today. He apologized for any inconvenience that he could offer to the commission, but he'd like to have this deferred, and he said he would certainly defer it to the pleasure of the commission. So if we could just ask for, again, I think an indefinite deferral, but try to do it as quickly after the first of the year as we can.
All right, and I understand, or I believe that the only people who have made any applications that are relevant to the annual hearing on horse-drawn carriages is Johnny Smith with Sugar Creek Carriages. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So that would be the only interested party.
Correct.
All right. Any commissioners have some discussion or questions about that?
Happy to defer. I do have a question on the application. His application says number of vehicles currently in operation, 5 allowed to operate, but 13 permitted?
What that means is, yeah, it's 5.
Go ahead, sorry.
5 that can be on the street. However, there are other carriages that we have inspected. They meet the criteria. They can only come out on the streets 5 at a time. So they're, for instance, a funeral hearse. There's and some specialty vehicles that needed to be inspected. So they're permitted, but they can only operate what they're approved through this commission.
So he'd like to go from 5 to 12 on the street at any given time. Is that right? Got it. Okay.
Were you going, Commissioner Hayes, were you going to make a motion?
I would certainly move to defer this application for new, under the annual hearing for consideration of horse-drawn carriage, certificate of public convenience and necessity, additional carriages for Sugar Creek carriage application. Move to defer indefinitely until such time as he is available and reapplies. And you place it on the agenda.
Is there a second to that rather lengthy motion?
I'll second that motion.
All right.
Hopefully somebody can type that up.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, Mr. Rooker, I think you were going to address us about the consent agenda today.
Yes, sir. We have, under other passenger vehicles for hire, we have 6 new companies that have applied. A&N Limo, JMJ Transit, Lux Rides Transportation LLC, More Ways LLC, Royal Class Transport LLC, and Shoemate Business Group doing business as SBG Chauffeur. All new applicants, all applications are in order.
Has everybody had an opportunity to review their applications? And are there any questions? All right. Hearing none, is there any reason any of these applicants should come off the consent agenda?
No, sir.
All right. Is there a motion regarding the consent agenda and the applications for other passenger vehicles for hire?
Move to approve A&N Limo, JMJ Transit, Lux Rides, Transportation LLC, Moreways LLC, Royal Class Transport LLC, Shoemate Business Group, DBA, SBG Chauffeur, under the other passenger vehicles for hire on the consent agenda.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, there's been a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Not to be picky, Mr. Hayes, Commissioner Hayes. I think we got to move to approve the applications, not the entities themselves, right?
Yes.
The applications from, can the minutes reflect that it's the applications from these companies?
Yes, I agree.
Commissioner Westlake, are you seconding that amended motion?
I second the amended motion.
All right, following Robert's Rules of Order here, all those in favor say aye, please.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the consent agenda is approved. Now we have reconsideration of the 2024 commission meeting schedule. Before we open it up to everybody commenting, Mr. Fields, can you kind of summarize where we stand from the input you may have gotten from commissioners? And why we're readjusting our meetings probably would be good on the record as well.
Just because it's always appropriate, I'll hear at least one story. In the very old days, we met on Tuesdays. That date was changed later on to accommodate various schedules. Metro Channel 3 provides two things for us. Officially what they provide for us is making our meetings transparent for the public to be able to view and then placed on YouTube to be able to see them forever. What it also, though, it does is provides us a record of the meeting rather than have tape recordings and that sort of thing. So we have a twofer. There is one of your commissioners is calling right now that's absent.
Now, who would that be?
Mr. Powell.
Yeah.
Is excused, by the way. There is a need to telecast the hospital hospital authorities meetings, which is also on Thursday afternoons. They previously have not been aired, and in working through schedule, it appeared based on conversations with Channel 3 that it would be they would like to request that we would move this meeting. So at the last meeting, we suggested either the second or the third Thursdays of the month. And in doing just a brief conversations with several of you, didn't get to all of you, there are three commissioners that appear that feel like the third would be better for them. I think there's one where the second actually would be better, and then for the most part, either was the choice. So, and again, they can also be modified. There's lots of ways to modify them, but basically, we just need to make a change. If we're recommending you make a change. The second was the staff's original suggestion prior to talking with any of the commissioners. So we just would like for you to consider making a change so we can continue to be broadcast live on our meetings can be broadcast live on Channel 3.
To the third Thursday.
Either the second or third Thursdays fits their schedule. When we went back to them, they can video. Well, they could actually do the first, the second, or the third. We looked at the first, and there's so many potential problems there that we knew we probably did not want to present that. So the second or third is what came back from the commission the last month. So that's what we sent out to you.
These are the two different options, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, being here and with the other commissioners here, I'd just like to place my vote for the third Thursday of the month.
It's open for discussion.
So, Mr. Fields, did you say there was a commissioner who could not meet on the second Thursday?
No, there were none that could not. There were just one that had
That preferred.
more conflicts on the potential
Oh.
conflicts. Not hard, it did not appear to be hard conflicts, but looking to the future, potential conflicts. What we've learned over the years, clearly as a volunteer body, conflicts come up and, you know, your attendance is always appreciated, but your absence is also understood.
I have no preference between the second and the third, but it does seem like, you know, fewer people have issues with the third than the second Thursday.
I was trying to look for my email that I sent to you when I went back through this, and I can't remember what I said, so I don't think I have a preference one way or the other, but I want to make sure that we can accommodate the commissioners if anybody has a particular conflict with one date or the other.
Mr. Chairman, to recall your email, I don't have it with me, but I tend to remember emails y'all send me. You had one day, you had one on the second Thursday that you might have a problem, and then I think there were two potential conflicts on the if it were on the third.
Sounds like I don't have much of an impact on it then one way or the other, so thank you, Mr. Fields.
Yeah.
So does somebody have a particular conflict with one or the other? Thought you did.
There's the Multimodal Access Committee meeting that I sit on also with NDOT, and I think that's the first Thursday when they don't have specially called meetings, but the third looks good.
I don't particularly have any conflicts with one or the other, but the third is probably preferable for me.
What was your input?
Third's always good, because if a building falls, I gotta go.
Yep.
I don't have any conflicts on either one, except for billing hours.
That's right.
Well,
I would like to make a motion that snacks be provided in the future.
Seconded.
Any meeting over 2 hours.
you cannot make a motion until the fiscal note has come in on it. So, I
I
don't,
retracted.
well, short of any real opposition, it sounds like the momentum is leaning towards the third Thursday to move our meetings.
It's fine.
Do you need us to formalize that with a motion? Okay. I'll make a motion that we change our scheduled meeting time to the third Thursday of every month at 12:30 p.m.,
Which means we'll be starting on January 18th first.
starting January 18th.
Okay.
You say 12 p.m.? 12:30.
12:30.
12:30. Got it, okay.
All right.
I'll second.
Oh, yeah, sorry, yeah. There's been a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye, please.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We have other business, and I was informed there is no other business unless one of the commissioners have something.
There were actually a couple things that came up since that I wanted to make sure we were clear on.
Yep.
One is we have a tentative date for the work session with the commission to discuss ET-related actions that the commission could anticipate. We're looking at tentative date of December the 19th. They're like all meetings, but that's the schedule we're looking at. And if assuming that it'd be an open meeting, be a work session for the commission. We just need to share that with you. No actions required.
Well, let's go ahead and either make it the date or not, rather than leave it tentative. Anybody got a problem with the 19th? And December the 19th. And the purpose of the meeting is it's a working meeting to discuss and consider ways of, what's the word I'm looking for? Ways of
That is the meeting.
yeah, a working session about ways to disseminate the permits, if any, for slow-moving vehicles.
Yeah. I've got it on my calendar for 1 o'clock. Is that right?
We had suggested it would give you a 2-hour period. I hate to do that so close to Christmas, but there is a need to get it done. I'm sorry?
And that's gonna be in the building across the street.
No, we would be right here. We've reserved the room
I
here.
thought that was the old courthouse.
Do we have the room longer? If we engage in a really robust discussion that day, is
Yes,
it
sir.
available later than 3 o'clock?
Yes, sir. We'd be able to stay as long as necessary.
Great.
I've already shared with
You do realize you
Commissioner
just
Fields
advised
that I
the
won't be able to make
commission.
it.
Oh, let me rephrase.
You just advised the commission that's had as many as long as a 9-hour meeting.
Let me rephrase. 4 o'clock, we got to be out of here.
Snacks.
Commissioner Sansteva, you said
Oh,
what
I
now?
was just going to say that I've already shared with Director Fields that I won't be able to attend, but I look forward to notes and meetings.
Would you be able to attend by telephone conference or anything, or is it just impossible?
I'll be,
Okay.
yeah, I'll be out of the country,
We-
unfortunately.
We have asked Metro 3 to be available to broadcast it, so it'll be as open to the public as we can possibly make this meeting.
All right.
Right.
So, is it okay? We set it for the 19th at 1 o'clock right here?
It's okay.
It's okay by me. I will, per usual, be running a little tad bit late. I've got a board of directors meeting for Legal Aid Society at noon at that time, on that same date.
Okay.
And I'm the treasurer, so they need me to talk about the money.
Have you heard from Commissioner Powell or Commissioner Carey about that
Mr.
date?
Mr. Powell was actually the one calling in. The last I spoke with him, he actually asked the question, are we going to have the meeting? And I told him yes, because I was guessing you would agree to it. He just wants to know the location. So Mr. Powell will be here as well. To my knowledge, the chair, Mr. Hernandez, will be here as well.
Okay.
So I think everybody, now that we've spoken, I think we're fine for most of the commissioners to be here.
Sounds good. What's the other business?
The only other thing, you have 2 issues that are still outstanding related to annual meetings. We deferred any action for low-speed vehicle requests as well as pedal vehicle requests until 2 months after you have heard we had report from Connect Downtown. We had some information last month, and we completed that information today. Assuming that your motion was 2 months from when we completed, I'm assuming that we would complete it today in terms of information from Connect, and we would schedule those 2 hearings for February. Is that, I mean, it could be January again, you could count last month as a month, but it was a 2-month motion, so.
The Connect Downtown study, though, is not complete. It's still in draft form?
Yes, it is in draft form, and that's what's been presented to the community. They have the ability to make comments up until the end of next Friday, and then we'll be taking those comments and building them into the final report, and that will be forthcoming before the end of the year.
Next Friday, the 15th, or Friday, the 22nd?
The Friday the 15th.
Okay.
So,
I'm sorry, Mr. Fields or Mr. Costones, do we have any permits that we have tied to the end of that study that we have tentatively said it will be done by January, February? I know we've told some of the companies that have come forth once that study is done and we have the knowledge of the outcome of all that data that we would then consider their permits. Do we know if we have permits tied to that? Have we made any promises along those lines?
I think, and y'all correct me if I have this wrong, that the annual meetings were just deferred. So I assume that what was in place previously would continue to ride until the February meeting, no pun intended.
you completed the public hearings. What you did not do is make decisions. So you actually deferred action based on
okay.
information, based on your obtaining additional information which would come from Connect Downtown. So I guess for me, it's just a matter of the clock running. If you want the final draft or the final product, it looks like it's going to be by the end of the year. We certainly could present it to you at the, give you the final copy in January if there's any changes, and we set that, and you can, at that point in January, make a decision on when you want to have the annual meetings or take action on those annual meetings.
And we could still do it February, or we could do it March.
Correct.
That sounds like a plan.
The final copy of Connect Downtown is not January, is it?
End of December.
I guess what we heard in some of the smaller group meetings with both the consultant and other members of NDOT was that the public comment period was going to end at some point in December, and then it would take a couple of months to finalize the actual document.
I think we heard that during the last meeting,
Yeah.
but,
Well, no particular action is necessary at this point,
yeah.
because you left it at 2 months. If the study is still open, then the issue is still open as well. I mean, your motion still is in effect that there was a 2-month period on it. So you can, and again, that can be changed at the January meeting. You could come to the January meeting and say exactly what you said. We want to have that meeting in February, or you could come to January and say we want to have it in March.
Ms. Alicorn, did you just mention that the study would be finalized by the end of this year?
Yes, sir.
Okay, because Commissioner Hayes and I were we were just discussing here openly that we thought there was going to be the comment period by December 15th or so, and then it was going to take several months to get the study finalized. But you're saying by the end of December, you'll have it?
We're shooting to have it to us by the end of the month.
Okay.
Now, that may get delayed a few weeks. We are in the middle of holidays, but we're pushing to get it done so we can bring it back out to the community along with the implementation plan and what we're moving forward, and then we want to take that on to council.
Then with your permission, what I'll do is come back with a report in January. When the information's available, we will share directly with you as well, and we will be able to share information and hopefully set a date for any action you may or may not want to take.
And we'll also have had the benefit of discussions during the working meeting about how we would allocate, that's the word I was looking for, allocate the permits, if there's going to be any permits allocated.
Correct.
Okay. What does everybody else think? Thoughts?
I'll bring snacks. No, I'll bring food.
Thank you, Ms. Fields. We appreciate those things.
All right, any other other business, Mr. Fields?
I do not, sir.
Are we done then?
We are.
Okay. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Any seconds?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are done. Thank you, folks.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information on this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.